Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today I wanted to do another comicsgate guide to SJW speak, and today I'm not going to focus on a word or a phrase so much. It's more of an idea that expresses itself in a lot of SJW speak, especially SJW speak at Marvel. And it's the idea that you can't actually be racist against white people, but as soon as that white person does the exact same thing that you're doing, well, they're racist. And it also works for, this or that phobe or any other kind of nasty word or idea that you can make stick to those people. Why do these SJWs and how do these SJWs twist it around in their minds so that they can think that people can do horrible things to white people and not be racist, and at the same time, if the same thing was done to them, well, the white person is racist? Because you can go through a lot of the Twitter feeds of people at Marvel. You get your SJW artists and writers at Marvel, and you can see this, but let's not go towards the small fries. Let's go to the big cheese. And we'll go back again to that interview that I did a reaction to of Sana Amanat, because she's a senior VP at Marvel, senior VP of diversity, inclusion, and character development. So she's actually supposed to be promoting diversity and inclusion. And in that interview itself, she said that when she was a kid, she couldn't identify with the people around her, and she had nothing in common with those people around her. And why? Because she looked around her and all she could see was white. And of course, you hear that and you go, excuse me, that's racist. But in her mind, she's not being racist, because you can't be racist against white people, of course. Now, this affects, and I'm going to go over this at the end, this affects not only how people interact with you, these Marvel people interact with you, but how the Marvel bullpen looks right now and why it's in such a horrible shape. So to go over it really quickly, hopefully really quickly again, with one of these shorter videos, why these people think this: because they're either socialist or communist, or they're the useful idiots of socialist communists. And a socialist communist philosophy is one that is materialistic and atheistic, and basically it says there's no other things than what you see around you, and therefore there's no such thing as heaven. If you want to have a heaven, we have to build it here on earth, and we can build it here on earth because it has been that way at the first of history. Our utopia used to be here, and that utopia, their utopia in their mind, is where everybody gets exactly the same thing. So there's equality of outcome. So it doesn't matter how much merit you have. It doesn't matter how much work you put into a thing. It doesn't matter how much blood, sweat, and tears you expend on something. You're going to get the exact same amount as the slovenly fella next to you who's doing nothing, because you get equality of outcome, which, by the way, is why all socialist governments fail. Anyways, so they believe that this is the way it was back originally in their utopia in their minds. And it also feeds into the idea that all things that we have around us are human institutions created by human people. And there's nothing else beside the creation by humans and of these institutions. So these institutions make up all of human society, and they were created by humans itself. And I know that's a circular argument, but you can't ask for reason from a socialist communist. Anyways, so it means that nothing outside of the human sphere actually exists or can impact any of these institutions. So you automatically get rid of any ideas like God, you get rid of any ideas like natural law, and by the way, you also have to get rid of ideas like reason and logic and, empirical science. You have to get rid of that as well, because, you can't have other things telling you what to do. So you have to get rid of all of those things, and it's just human institutions, and all you have around you is human institutions. And in their utopia in the past, these human institutions were all equal because everybody got equality of outcome. So why did it go unequal? Well, because you had some of these institutions, and everything's an institution, remember. So, gender is an institution that's made up by people, and race is an institution that's made up by people. All of these things are institutions. So you get this inequality by you having one institution oppressing another institution. And the people who have more, obviously, are the oppressors, and the people who have less, well, they are the oppressed. And since they're trying to bring it back to this utopia again, well, obviously, you got to take the oppressors and knock them down a couple of pegs, and you got to take those people who are oppressed and give them extra. Because remember, equality of outcome. So everybody needs to have the same, no matter how much merit or work you put into it. Whereas capitalism is built on equality of opportunity, where it says everybody has an equal opportunity to put in as much work as they can to make their life better. And if you don't do that, well, your life is crappy. Too bad. So sad for you. You didn't take your opportunity. But in your socialism, you say, no, it's equality of outcome. Everybody should get the same thing at the end. So since white people are the ones that have the most in this society today, well, obviously they're oppressors, and so you can do whatever you want to them to try to knock them down a peg and still be so-called moral and justifiable, because all you're doing is trying to bring about this utopia. So you can slander them, you can lie about them, you can call them racist, you can shout racist, phobe this, phobe that, you can even sling violence at them. And you're perfectly justified in doing that, because they have to be taken down a peg, because obviously they've oppressed people in order to get that higher status. The other side, who are oppressed, well, they are allowed to do as much damage as possible, and they get a buy. They don't have to pay for that at all, because they're just taking back what should be theirs to begin with. So if they're stealing from you in any way, shape, or form, and that could just be from simple slander so that you don't get it, and therefore it'll trickle down to them somehow, or outright violence and stealing from you, well, that's perfectly justifiable, because they're just trying to rebalance the scales of the utopia that's supposed to be here. So that's why these people, SJWs, think that they can call people racist, and at the same time they're promoting inclusivity and diversity. They can shut out certain races while at the same time being inclusive and diverse. And that's why San Amanat can say things like, I couldn't identify with the people around me or even have anything in common with them because they were white, and think that she's promoting diversity and inclusion, because, of course, you got to take whitey down a peg or two, because they are the ones who are oppressed. And she, by the way, I'll think about it. I usually think about it in sort of D&D terms. You know, she has a -2 armor class of oppression. She has a -2 armor class of oppression. So armor class, when you go into the minuses, that's actually really good. So she's a person of color, that gives her a -1, and she's a Muslim, that gives her a -2. So she's got a -2 armor class for oppression. So she has this in her background, and she weaponizes it in order to attack the people who she sees as oppressors. And so does everybody else that is an SJW Marvel creator, and anybody else that's underneath her. They go ahead and do this all out on Twitter, and they got no problem doing it out in the open. They usually try to crouch it in some kind of subtle language, but they do it because they don't think that they can actually be racist. That's why they speak like this. And again, I was saying at the first, that's why Marvel's bullpen is in such a disarray right now, and why you got such garbage coming out of Marvel right now. Because they not only think this, but they put it into their hiring practices. And you can see this in their hiring. Because, by the way, it's no longer you have merit, you are a good worker, you've shown that you can do good things, you get a #1 Marvel to write. No, it's let's go out and look for someone who doesn't care about Marvel, who is not even looking to write for Marvel, just some random person who fills up these -1, -2, -3 slots, you know? Things like you get to be, if you're overweight, you get -1. If you're a woman, that's -2. If you're a handicapped person, oh, that's -3. If you're a minority religion, oh, that's -4. And if you, let's say you're transgendered, oh, there you go, -5. And you can oppress as many people as you want, because that's not actually oppression. You know, you can call people whatever you want and do whatever you want to them, because you're just taking back what's actually yours. So they go out and look for these people. They're not actually waiting for people to come to them to show them that they have merit, to bring their resume to them and say, look, this is what I've been able to do. See how much merit I have. That's no longer the way they hire people. They hire people by going out and just finding the person that can fill up as many of these -1, -2, -3 slots as possible. And they go and they say, hey, how'd you like to write a #1 for Marvel? Come and work for us. And this person is usually going, I don't know what Marvel is. I don't really understand comic books or how to write them or anything else, but I could use a job. So, hey, yeah. And that's why you have garbage coming out of Marvel right now, because they're putting this, -2, -3 armor class of oppression into the slots where you should have people with merit. The last one that they had, that they just hired, She was someone that they went and looked for, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but they just put it up on their Twitter page a couple of days ago. And this was this woman that she was a, we'll say, second or third tier YA author, and she never did really a whole lot. And they went out and sought her out and said, hey, how about you wanting to write this new #1 issue for a new series of Marvel? Why? Because she had a -2 oppression armor class, because she was overweight and a woman, of course. And it had nothing to do with the fact of how much merit she had or how much she could actually do for the company. And again, that's why these people can speak in this way and still think to themselves that they are perfectly justified in doing so. And that's why Marvel's bullpen looks like the most diverse thing in the world right now, but has an intellectual quotient and a merit quotient of God only knows, because it's so low. And those people who do have merit and are sitting there next to the others, diversity hires, they're just scratching their heads and they're wondering themselves, why am I still here? Why should I still be here? These people are taking all of my hard work and just using it for their own ends and just running it into the ground. I should go and do some crowdfunding like Ethan Van Sciver and actually make good comics. Anyway, I wanted to keep this a shorter video. It's been about 11 minutes. That's a short enough video. I don't want to go on any more than that. Hopefully, I've given you something new to think about. Leave a comment for me. Give me something new to think about. Hit like, hit subscribe if I did give you something new to think about. And share the link. Go on my Twitter page. I always post all of my videos on my Twitter page. All you're going to have to do is hit retweet. And my Twitter page link is at the top of the YouTube channel. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.